Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. As far as props for today, I'd suggest having a couple of your hard blocks and one of your soft blocks nearby, and then anything else you like to have around. If you like to have a blanket for later on or for extra padding for the knees or anything like that, go for it. When you're ready, we'll get started on the back today. So take a moment to set yourself up and get comfortable. You can come to lie down and choose any symmetrical shape that works for you. So if you'd like to do butterfly legs or have the legs extended like Shavasana or anything else, then go for it. And even here, if you'd benefit from some props, maybe something under the knees or under the head, then feel free to add that in. And take a moment to find the spot for the arms that feels the most comfortable for today. If any part of you is feeling a little fidgety, take your time, maybe find a little movement to help you settle in. If it feels okay to have the eyes closed, then go for it. If you'd rather keep the eyes open, then find a gaze point, something unmoving to look at, to keep your attention a little more still. As and when you feel ready to find your stillness, settle the body in. And take a scan from the feet to the head to check in to see what everything feels like. Notice your breath here and gently invite it to start to deepen. Gently guide your attention back to your body, back to your space. And only when you feel ready to start to find some movement, you can wiggle the fingers and the toes, maybe give the head a slow rock side to side. As you're ready, extend the arms up overhead, give yourself a full body stretch, reaching from the fingers, reaching from the toes, maybe wiggling hips and shoulders. And then staying in this extended shape, you can start to walk your feet towards the bottom left corner of the mat, and then your arms towards the top left corner. The arms can stay extended. If it feels better for the shoulders to bend the elbows, then go for it. And if you like to cross right ankle or right wrist over left, then go for that. Finding a stretch through the whole right side of the body. Slowly bringing everything back to center. And we'll sit straight up for the second side. So feet towards the bottom right, arms towards the top right, maybe left ankle crosses over. And keep that left side of the pelvis nice and heavy as you send the breath to that whole left-hand side. As you're ready, bringing everything back to center, releasing your arms down, and then any way you can, flip yourself onto your belly. We'll set up for Sphinx pose here. So once you're on the belly, the elbows can be roughly underneath the shoulders. You can bring them a little bit forward if you want a more gentle back bend. And the forearms can stay parallel or hands together. Take your time to find whatever feels the most comfortable. And you can let the lower body, the legs feel soft here. So if you want, you can wiggle the heels side to side a little bit and then let them settle wherever feels comfortable. And keep just a little pressure of the elbows into the floor to keep the spine nice and long. And gaze can be forward or to the floor. See what feels best for the neck today. Eyes open or closed. Notice your breath here. And continue taking deep, expansive inhales. And full softening exhales. We're about halfway through the shape, but if you need to lower down sooner, then go for it. If you need a few more breaths in this shape, then you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, as you're ready, gently release the spine down to the floor, and you can stack the palms under the forehead.
And from here, you may choose stillness for a few breaths. Whenever you feel ready to, slide that right knee out towards the right, almost like tree pose but on the belly. The right foot can be close to the left leg or further away. See what stretch feels best here. Always the option to pad that right knee if it feels a little sensitive. If the right knee is up, you can re-extend it and then set up the second side, left knee out towards the left, any amount. Left leg can re-extend as you're ready. And then collect the hands underneath the shoulders and press through the hands, through the legs, and come up to a tabletop position. And set the hands up roughly underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers nice and wide, and grip the finger pads into the mat to find a little more stability for the wrists. And then tuck the toes under and lift the knees just about an inch up off the floor. Keep the hands pressing down, keep the spine nice and long, and make sure you're still breathing here. And notice what the face is doing. Notice the eyes, the space around the mouth. Maybe you can find a little softness there if they're scrunching. And take a few more deep breaths. And last couple, embrace the wobbles. Awesome. When you're ready, lower the knees to the floor and take the knees nice and wide. And then untuck the toes, hips towards the heels, and keep the arms extended for just a moment. You might choose to have your soft block nearby for this as well, so you can bring it near the top of the mat. Press the right hand to the floor, and we'll thread the left arm underneath the right, so settle the left shoulder, maybe the left side of the head down, and this is where the prop might be handy. A right hand can stay to the floor. If you like to bring the palms together, then go for that. It might add a little more stretch for the back body. Even here, can you find that sense of space with each inhale breath? A sense of grounding with each exhale. And bring the right hand back to the floor first, and then press yourself up to center. We'll set straight for the second side, so now the right arm can thread through, settle the right shoulder, the right side of the head down. Left hand can stay, or maybe left palm to right. Let the hips be nice and heavy here. Find your breath. Left hand comes back to the floor and then the right. And press yourself up to your tabletop position. And take a few breaths here. You can move the body any way you like. Maybe a few rounds of cat-cow will feel nice for the spine. Or if you want to snake the spine side to side, anything else at all, go for it. If you want a second round of hovering the knees, then choose that. And take about 6 breaths wherever you need to be. When you do feel ready, come back to your tabletop. You might take the hands slightly forward, keep the fingers spread nice and wide, and tuck the toes, lift the knees. We'll head to downward facing dog. You might like to pedal the heels here a little bit or sway the hips. Notice what that back line of the legs feels like here. And for the next few breaths, you can move it out any way you need. And keep the hands actively pressing the floor away. You can give yourself as much of a bend to the knees as you need to allow the low back to feel spacious here. Notice if the shoulders are creeping up towards the ears, and see what you can do to find a sense of length through both sides of the neck. Maybe a nod, yes and no, to release the head. Awesome. And this next little bit you can do from down dog, or you can come to tabletop. And when you're ready with an inhale, lift the right leg up behind you. And as you exhale, right knee towards the nose. Inhale, send the leg back. And knee to nose. One more. Inhale, re-extend. As you exhale, lower that right knee about halfway up the mat. And kicks down the right foot to the right, drop the left heel down, and then line up the right hand, the right knee, and the left foot. With an inhale, reach the left arm either up towards the ceiling or maybe overhead, palm down. And find that length through the whole left side of the body, but keep the right side active. That right hand is pushing the floor away for your side plank variation. Take a few deep breaths. All right, press that left foot down, press the right knee down, engage the belly, and with an inhale, we'll come on up to this shape. Awesome. If you need to adjust something, then go for it. If that right knee feels sensitive, then feel free to pat it. And then take the left hand to the left hip, reach the right arm towards the ceiling, take a deep inhale. As you exhale, you can reach towards the front. Find that stretch through the whole right side. Imagine length from the right knee all the way up to the right elbow. Keep the space nice and proud here. The chest, rather. Awesome. Your next inhale breath, come on up. And then we'll pivot that left foot towards the front of the room, bend the left knee, and then you can pivot that right foot out so that you're in a lunge. And take a moment to set yourself here, and then you can come on up, and we'll play with that back leg a little bit. So take a deep inhale. As you exhale, lift the right knee and extend the leg, but stay relatively low. Inhale, rebend the right knee, almost touch down, and then exhale, extend. And then 3 more like that. Inhale, bend the knee, hover. Exhale, extend. Last 2. Final 1. Inhale, hover the right knee, and then lower it down to the floor. Untuck the right toes. And again, if the right knee feels sensitive, feel free to pat it. Now stack the hips on top of that right knee and then walk the left foot in so that the left foot is roughly underneath the left knee. And then we'll play with balance here. So make sure you have clear space around you in case you need to use the arms a little bit.
We're going to come to balance on that right knee, on the right shin. So you can start off by coming onto the left tippy toes and just see what that feels like. It may already feel a little unstable, so you're welcome to stay. Work with the breath. It might also help to steady your gaze a little bit, so find an unmoving spot to look at. Hands can be wherever you need them to be. Maybe coming onto the big toe, maybe bringing the foot up off the floor, and then see what happens. And playing here for a few breaths. Just make sure you're breathing, whatever your shape looks like, whether it's kind of wild and all over the place, or if it's like super zen and centered. Just make sure the breath is still going. All right, if you need a little more time, you can play. Otherwise, when you're ready, lower the left foot down. And then just make sure you have your blocks nearby. So if you have your blocks, you can set them up kind of near the back leg, one on each side. And then you can take the hands to the hip, going for a one-legged camel variation here. So take a moment to engage pubic bone towards the belly button, find that tight little hug. And then inhale, breath, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, start to press the pelvis forward as you peel the center of the chest up and open. Hands can stay to the pelvis, or the option to bring the hands down to your blocks. If you are connecting the hands to the blocks, feel free to adjust them to where they need to be, and then press the hands actively down. See if you can find a little more room. And breathe into that space. Last few deep breaths. Awesome. And then hug the belly and slowly make your way back up. And pause in center. Tall spine, deep inhale. As you exhale, twist towards the left, right hand to the outside of the left knee. Left hand can stay to heart or reach towards the back of the room. And find a sense of stability here. So press the knee into the hand and then the hand back into the knee. And breathe. All right. Inhale, breath, come back to center. Locate one of your heart blocks. Left hand for the block, bring it to the inside of the left leg. And then we'll tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, but spin the right heel to the floor. Setting for extended side angle. If you need to lengthen your base, go for it. And press the left hand down, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. And then see what the shape needs here. If you want to do elbow to knee, then go for it. If the top arm needs to be somewhere else, then go for that. Stay for a few deep breaths here, variation. All right, tight belly here. Inhale, breath, come all the way up, extend the front leg. Right hand to hip, reach the left arm up and over. Find a full stretch for the left hand side. And stay here, take a deep inhale. And stay for the exhale. One more round. Inhale, breath, lengthen. As you exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor and step back to your downward facing dog. And see where you need to be here. So down dog, if that feels like a good place to rest, choose stillness or movement. You can lower the knees and find child's pose. If you'd like to take a flow with me, then go for it. With your next inhale breath, come forward to plank pose, top of a push-up, and then lower all the way down as you exhale. Untuck the toes, cobra pose with an inhale, and lower down. Inhale, tabletop, and choose child's pose or downward facing dog for the next 6 breaths.
Making your way to down dog as you're ready. And this next little bit, either from down dog or from tabletop, with an inhale, lift the left leg way up behind you. As you exhale, left knee towards the chest. Inhale, send it back. And exhale, come forward. One more. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring the knee forward, lower it to the floor, halfway up. And then kickstand the left foot to the left, drop the right heel down. With an inhale, reach the right arm up towards the ceiling or maybe towards the front of the room. Side plank variation. And again, make sure that that left arm stays active. Notice what's happening to the shoulder as well. If it's creeping towards the ear, see if you can find that space from shoulder to ear. Last couple breaths. And then engage the belly here with an inhale breath. Come on up to stand on that left knee on the right foot. If you need to adjust your stance, then go for it. Or if you need to add padding, anything like that. The right hand to the right hip, left arm reaches up, deep inhale. Exhale, arc over towards the back. Find that length through the whole left side of the body. And breathe here. And tone the belly with an inhale, come on up. And then spin the right foot forward, bend the right knee, and then you can unkickstand that left foot behind you. So start off by bringing your weight on top of the left knee, and then you can bring that right foot a little bit closer in. Back toes are tucked. Preparing here, take a deep inhale and an exhale. Inhale, bring that right knee, the left knee to just hover up off the floor, and then exhale, extend the left leg, but stay low. Inhale, bend, hover. Exhale, extend. A few more. Last one. Inhale, hover the left knee. Exhale, lower it down. Untuck the toes. Maybe bring that right foot a little bit closer. Preparing here for balance again. So make sure you have room, or if you like to have something that you can catch onto, go for it. Let's start off, maybe left tippy toes. Find that engagement through the core to help you here. Use the arms as much as you need. Maybe a gaze point to keep you steady. Don't sweat it as well. Sometimes we'll have a side that balances a lot easier than the other side. So don't worry if this side feels a lot messier. Make sure you're still breathing. All right, when you're ready, right foot can lower down, right foot underneath the right knee. We'll set up for that half camel pose, so you can take your blocks straight away, set them up on either side of the left leg. Left toes can be tucked. And again, take a moment to pad that back knee, especially if it's sensitive. We've been here for a little while. Tone the belly, hands to the hips, maybe hug the elbows back. And take a deep inhale, and stay for the exhale. And then inhale, start to open the center of the chest up towards the ceiling, maybe reaching hands back to your blocks, or maybe hands stay at the hips. And take your time, give yourself an adjustment as needed, and breathe into your half camel. Breathe through the whole front body. With a strong belly, slowly making your way back up. And then pause, reset. Deep inhale, and then twist towards the right, left hand to the right knee, right hand maybe to the low back, or you can extend it behind you. And again, press the knee into the hand into the knee, find that stability, and gaze wherever you like. Inhale, breath, unravel back to center. Bring one of your props with you. Right hand to the inside of the right knee, lift the back knee up, spin the left heel to the floor, and if you need to lengthen your base, then go for it. Extended side angle, press that right hand down, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling, modify your shape however you need to. As you're ready, press the feet to the floor. Strong belly, come all the way up with an inhale, extend the front leg, left hand to the left hip, and then reach that right arm up and over. 3 deep breaths here. One last inhale. And as you exhale, cartwheel the hands down to the floor and step to your downward facing dog. Stillness or movement, take a few breaths. And choose to stay in down dog, choose child's pose, or with your inhale breath, come forward to plank. With your exhale, lower all the way down. In cobra pose, inhale, and lower. In tabletop, and then hips to heels, child's pose. And choosing the version of child's pose that's the most comfortable for you. And if you need to add any props for support, then go for it. And see if you could benefit from a little more time in stillness. And only when you feel ready to move again, you can walk the hands in and then press yourself up to a tabletop position. And from your tabletop, we'll step 1 foot forward between the hands and then the other to join it, and we'll find a forward fold. And give yourself as much of a bend to the knees as you need so that you can find a sense of heaviness through the spine. Maybe nod it out, yes and no, to release the neck as well. And to see if you'd like a bind here, maybe hands find opposite elbows, or you could interlace hands at low back or behind the skull. And even here, stillness or maybe a gentle rocking side to side. Awesome. If you have a bind, you can let that go. And then walk the feet so that they're all the way together, or almost all the way together. You can turn the toes out slightly here. And then start to bend into the knees, and we'll come and find a toe squat. If a toe squat doesn't work for you, then feel free to find a traditional squat with the feet kind of to the floor, a little bit wider apart. You can also come to a seat and find butterfly instead. Now we'll play with challenging the balance here. So if you need the hands to the floor, then go for it. Otherwise, maybe hands can come up to prayer. And take a moment to notice that length from the tailbone to the crown of the head. And imagine that you could breathe length there, breathe space there. Make sure the rest of the body stays quiet. If you are feeling pinching or anything like that, whether it's low back, hips, knees, ankles, anywhere else, then back out of the shape. And if you want to add one more challenge here, then think about closing the eyes, see what that feels like. Last little bit. All right. When you're ready, we'll bring one hand down behind and then the other to lower the bum down to the floor. And give the legs a little shake out, maybe rock the feet side to side or tap the backs of the knees to the floor. Awesome. And then bend the knees, bring the feet flat down. We'll set up for boat pose. If you know you need a little extra cushioning, feel free to do this on a soft block. Otherwise, maybe scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way to better connect the sit bones down. And first option, you can stay here, lengthen the spine, work with the breath. And second option, maybe coming to tippy toes. And third option, you can alternate lifting one leg, then the other, or lift both. Final option will be to extend the legs. Mine start to dance straight away when I do this. But if you are, then keep that length going, tailbone to crown as well. Make sure you're still breathing. Whatever your shape looks like, you can always modify it as well. Okay, when you're ready, you can bring the feet down to the floor, and then we'll lower all the way down to the back. So take your time coming down any way you like. And then once you touch down, look around and find one of your hard blocks, and we'll bring it between the knees. Walk the feet in so that they're roughly underneath the knees. Find a version of the shape that feels comfortable for you. We're going to set up for a back bend. So feel free to play around. You can work from tippy toes. You can work from pressing the heels down. And if you need to find more length from heels to tailbone, then go for it. Sometimes that can make the shape more accessible. I like to set up robot arms, so I'm going to keep the elbows near the rib cage with the fingers pointing towards the ceiling. If you prefer to have the arms extended, go for it. You can even grip the edges of the mat. And then squeezing the block between your thighs, and press the feet down to the floor, and then with an inhale breath, lift the pelvis up any amount, and then pause when you arrive. And take a moment to check in. If you need to adjust something, if you need to back out or even exit the shape, then that's fine. If you'd like to add something on, then maybe think about a bind. So you could start to walk the hands a little closer. Maybe you can wiggle the shoulders a little closer, and perhaps the hands will end up interlacing under the back. Now notice what muscles, what part of the body is keeping you up here. And see if you can keep the shoulders pressing down, the feet pressing down. Keep hugging that block between your thighs. And make sure you're still breathing. And we'll stay here for about 5 more breaths, but if your body lets you know it should come down sooner, then that's fine. Listen to it. And likewise, if you need a little more time here, you're welcome to stay longer also. When you do feel ready, if you have a bind, you can let that go first, and then slowly sequence the spine down to the floor. And pause here. You might take the feet a little wider. If you want, you can keep the block between the knees because we'll use it for the neck shape as well. Maybe hands somewhere on the body. Take a few deep breaths. Awesome. If the feet are wide, you can walk them back in. And then scoot the hips to the left a few inches. We'll let the knees come down towards the right. And if doing this with the prop between the knees isn't working, or if it would feel better to have the prop underneath the knees or something else, then go for it. Your version of a twist. Arms can come to a T shape if you like, or the right arm can reach to the floor overhead. The left arm, rather, for a little more side body stretching through that left side. You can also have the hands somewhere on the body. And we're halfway through the shapes. If you like to add a neck stretch for the second half, and take the head an inch over to the right, and then lower the gaze down towards the left. If the head is turned, you can bring it back to center, and then squeeze your block, lift the knees up to center, bring the hips back too. We'll set straight up for the second side, so you can take the hips over to the right now, lower the knees down towards the left. The side may feel different. If you need a different arm expression or something like that, then go for it. And take a moment to lengthen here, and to melt down, settle in. If you're adding the neck stretch, then take the head to the left a little, lower the gaze down towards the right. And bringing the head back to center, and squeeze the block to bring the legs back to center. And then if you have your block still, you can let that go. From here, we'll set up for thread the needle on the back. So you can lift the left leg up and then place the left ankle just on top of the right knee. This might feel like plenty here, so you're welcome to stay. If you want a deeper expression, think about reaching through to catch hold of either the right hamstring, maybe the right shin. If you're holding the hamstring and you'd like to extend the right leg towards straight, then go for it. And from either variation of the shape, you can do stillness or maybe a gentle rock to help you settle in. Make sure, especially that left knee and hip, are comfortable with the shape. And sometimes flexing that left foot a little bit can help stabilize. But if it's not working for you, then feel free to come out whenever you need to. Gently release the left leg or the right leg, let it lower down to the floor, and then release the left too. We'll set straight up for the second side, so right ankle over the left knee, and then mirror whatever you did on the first side, but if this side needs something different, then feel free to modify. And choosing movement or stillness straight away. Find your expression of the shape. And stay with your breath. Gently release that left foot down and then the right. And check in with the hips. It might feel nice to take the feet a little wider and maybe gently windshield wiper the knees side to side a few times. Awesome. You might keep this going or collect the knees into your chest, and we'll set happy baby. So you can reach between the knees, catch hold of feet, ankles, or shins. Maybe feet point up towards the ceiling, but mindful of the low back. And even here, you might choose a rock side to side. You can choose to extend one leg and then rebend it to extend the other. Or maybe you're choosing stillness. You can gently release the feet, but keep the knees up into the chest. You can bring the arms around the knees or behind them and start to rock up and down the length of the spine. A couple times to massage the back, and then when you're ready, you can start to build up a little momentum, and we'll come up to find a seat. We'll set up butterfly shape, so if you like to have a soft block to sit up off of, go for it. And for today's butterfly, we'll do more of a diamond shape with the legs, so you can keep the feet a little further away from you than you would normally. Soles of the feet together, knees apart, and then you might just keep the pinky toe edge of the feet together. Imagine like you're opening a book, and maybe the big toes come a little further apart. See if that feels good for the hips. Another option is to support the legs somewhere, so either blocks for the thighs or for the knees, just so that they can have something to rest into. One option is to stay upright here. You can work with the breath. Or if you like to fold forward, then take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, start to hinge your way, chest towards the legs, any amount. And the hands can come along for support as well, so you can stop whenever you need to. And don't worry about coming into your full expression straight away either. So if you'd like to pulse a little bit with the breath, maybe inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to soften, you might do that a few times. If it feels okay to release the head and the neck as well, then go for it. Let the whole body soften here. even here, imagine that you could send the breath into the back body. And you keep taking those expansive inhales and your exhales to soften, to ground anything you don't need. And very gently start to walk the hands back in, lift the body back up. You might use the hands to bring the knees back to center. And it might feel good here to separate the legs a little, windshield wiper the knees side to side. And keep your movement slow. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. And the next shape will be Shavasana. So as you're ready, you can make your way down onto your back. And take your time to set up for whatever shape feels the most comfortable for right now. The hands can be anywhere beside the body, overhead, on the body. And feel free to use any of your props to add in some extra support. If you need to adjust temperature, lighting, music, anything like that, then go for it. And then as you're ready, let your breath return to its natural inhale and exhale. Let the body feel heavy as you settle yourself in. Slowly deepen the breath to reawaken the body. Adding some movement as you're ready through the hands and through the feet, wrists and ankles. Maybe a full body stretch if you want to reach the arms up. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the hips, the shoulders. And perhaps collect the knees into the chest one last time and curl up into a ball. Give yourself a hug and a squeeze, maybe a rock side to side. And see how you'd like to transition. You can roll down to one side and maybe pause for a few breaths. Or gently, you might rock and roll your way up to a seat. And take your time to arrive. There's no rush. Eventually coming to find any comfortable seated position if you like to use your props for support. And take a moment to settle whatever's touching the floor down into the floor. And take a moment to lengthen the spine, lengthen the neck, maybe that slight tuck of the chin in, find that space across the chest. And then take that scan through the body just to notice. The hands can stay where they've landed or connect in front of the heart. And perhaps bowing the chin in towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your practice. And if you have any questions, my name is Nicholas. Please reach out and have a great week.